I'm live. Yes, I am. Hello. Let's just press that button. Right, I am live everywhere. Hi, and welcome back to Mrs. Mummypenny Talks. We are now on episode 26 of series 2. There was a series 1 where I presented a little radio show, but I quit that and thought I'd come and do it on my own, all on my own brand, not having to answer to anybody. How I prefer to do these kind of things. So yes, good to see you. Not that I can see you, but if you're there watching, wave, say a little comment, ask a question, whatever. And yeah, welcome back to Mrs. Mummypenny Talks. So it is Tuesday, the 14th of April. Oh, I got a heart from somebody. Hello. It's Tuesday, the 14th of April. We are 20, I think it's like 22 days into lockdown. Yeah, I'll be talking a little bit about how things progressed in the last week. My spending diary post went live yesterday. Again, it's been a huge success. Loads of people read it. I had my best traffic yesterday for about maybe 4 weeks because my traffic's gone like that. Now it's starting to go up a little bit. So yesterday was a good day. So that was good. Very exciting day today. Hence I'm wearing a lot of makeup, and I managed to get like perfect eyes. That's pretty impressive because I always mess that up. I'm going to be on ITV News at lunchtime today. So at 1:30, tune in to Channel 3, ITV. I'll be on there with Nina Hussain, answering viewers' personal finance questions relating to current times. I think there'll be quite an emphasis on self-employed as well. So yes, had to do TV makeup, and I'm a lot more freckly than I was last week because it was a gorgeous sunny week, so I spent quite a bit of time in the garden. So yes, I will talk a little bit about previous week, and yeah, why don't I just start talking about it? So yeah, spending diary. Now, what I will say about spending diary is it's a really great tool to use for a few weeks to help you then go and build up a budget afterwards. I would almost say try and keep that spending diary for a few weeks, maybe like a month, and then you'll get a really good idea of how you're really spending your money, because we can all create a budget and say, oh, I need to spend £200 a month on groceries, but if that's just completely unrealistic, and you know via your spending diary you're actually spending £300 a month on your groceries, then it maybe then you just need to be putting like £250 into your budget rather than 200, so just to make things a bit more achievable. So yeah, spending diary is a really great precursor to pulling your budget together. Budget, I know it's not the most exciting of things to do, but it's really important. It's really important now in these times where money is potentially scarce. Your income might have dropped, you might be furloughed, so you're now on 80% of your income rather than 100% of your income. You might be self-employed and in this period of waiting for that money to come through in June. You might be like me, a limited company that pays yourself via dividends, who gets no money from the government, but I won't dwell on that. So yeah, at the moment we just don't know what's happening with money, do we? We don't know how long this is going to go on for. We don't know how long the money's going to be restricted, if it's going to go down, if it's going to go up. So when you're in a time of uncertainty, then you really need to sort of batten down the hatches and yeah, get control of money and budgets, and conserve cash. Just conserve as much cash as you can. Cash flow is always king. That's such a business phrase, but yeah, cash flow is so important now, because we need to build up that sort of resource of money just to keep us going, just in case this goes on for the rest of the year. I don't know, like, oh my gosh, I hope it doesn't. But yeah, very important to do that. So my spending diary, I started it on March the 23rd, I'm going to say. It was the Saturday just before lockdown started. So lockdown started on the Monday. So I started the spending diary then. And literally I've been combining everything into my spending diary. So it is a bit of a sort of complex thing, but like, I love spreadsheets. I quite like putting everything into my spreadsheet. It's a very simple spreadsheet. I've got columns going across the top, which are categories of things I spend money on. So you've got bills, groceries, car costs. There is entertainment stuff for the boys. There's clothes. There's fun money for me. Then you've got savings, money you might put aside for holidays, pensions. There's all sorts of categories going across the top. And then for each row, it's just a date and the amount and what the spend was. So I'm just going to flick into my spending diary because it's always open. And last week was actually a really good week. Well, I say good. I spent so £260 left in the week. Now, some of that was savings. So I've mentioned Chip before, but I have this auto savings thing set up, which auto takes money out of my bank account whenever I'm having when I'm having a good low spending week. It takes a bit more money. When I'm having a bad more spendy week, it doesn't take any money. So it looked at my account last week and thought, you're having a really good week, Lynn, you're not spending much money. So it saved £52 for me. So that meant that I ended up spending about £210 over the week. Groceries, I did do a big Aldi shop and managed to spend £100 in Aldi. That's quite good going in Aldi. I know there was 20 quid's worth of alcohol in that £100. And the boys were with me for 5 days, so I made sure I got in lots of treats for them, like Diet Coke that Dylan loves, and lots of things that they will like. So yeah, £146 spent on groceries. I've bought a few little bits like for the garden to keep them happy, like basketball net. Bought some foam footballs because they keep kicking the footballs over the fence of the garden. We had one takeaway, fish and chips. Fish and chips was £28. That's a lot of money for fish and chips, but it was Deliveroo, so we had to pay like £4 for delivery, and well, we probably ordered more food than we needed as well. But yeah, it's just at the either at the end of each day or at the beginning of each day, I'll write a little list of all the things I've spent that day. And I also go through my current account for all the bills that hit. I know today, Tuesday, because it's just after the bank holiday, I've got quite a few things that are going to hit my current account today. Like insurance, I'm pretty sure. My income protection insurance is going to hit today. Income protection insurance, by the way, is if I get ill and can't work, that starts to kick in and pays my income after 3 months. So it's a really great insurance to have, particularly for self-employed people. I look at my current account. I have 2 different credit cards that I use. I've got an American Express, which I use for cashback purposes. Like I get a cashback bonus once a year, which is due this month. Yay! So that's like £100 I get off my Amex bill. I also have a Sainsbury's MasterCard, which I use when Amex isn't taken. And I have to say my American Express card, not so my MasterCard even, is a 0% card for purchases to the end of this year. So I am using it as one of those sort of cash flow conservation methods where I am putting an element of my daily, weekly spend onto that MasterCard. I'm building up equivalent money like in my emergency fund, but it's just building up that emergency fund to as much money as possible, just to protect for whatever is down the line or not. Once we're in a period of stability, hopefully soon, then I can just switch the money straight out of my emergency fund to pay off the balance. But it's not costing me any money. It's 0% card. And what else do I have going on? Oh yeah, I put in my business costs. Managed to spend nothing on my business last week. That was impressive. And do I have money coming from anywhere else? Oh, PayPal. I suppose occasionally I get things going through PayPal, like Netflix is paid by PayPal. So yeah, I combine all of those things, do a little weekly summary, and then I put it into a spending diary, which is published on. I'm just doing a podcast, Dylan. And then I put it into my Monday money post at the moment, which is otherwise known as the lockdown spending diaries at the moment. So go and have a read of the post, because so many people read it. It's not just about how much money I'm spending, it's also about how I'm feeling each day, and sort of the ups and the downs of life. Because I wanted to talk about, was it Sunday night? Yeah, it was on Sunday night. I just got an overwhelming feeling of Groundhog Day, like, oh my gosh, it's just the same old stuff happening day in, day out. Like, we'll try and find something around the house to do to like keep everybody amused. Like, cutting down the hedges in the garden and cleaning it all up is something that Dylan likes doing. Who knew? We go out for our daily walk, but it just feels like it's the same old stuff every day. So I just got a bit of a feeling of when's it going to end, which I'm sure everybody's going through, the pressure of thinking of new stuff to do each day. Today's a really tricky day because I have to work till like 2:00, and I've promised the boys that we'll do some stuff this afternoon, but yeah, I have to work till 2:00. So yeah, it's a great little diary. Go have a look. Keep one yourself. But yeah, so once you've built out like a few weeks of this spending diary, what you can then do is create a budget. And if you go over to my website, particularly if it's like the first time you visited it, or even if it's not, on the side panel, there's a little box that will pop up saying, do you want to sign up to my newsletter, which goes out every Tuesday around lunchtime. And what's happened? Oh, it's okay, it's still recording. Yeah, if you sign up to my newsletter, you get a link to a budget spreadsheet, which is it's a mega simple spreadsheet. Like, you literally just fill in the boxes that I indicate with your income at the top, then all your costs, and then it'll work out for you how much your income hopefully is more than your spending. But I've listed absolutely everything that you sort of need to think about. So you start off with like your essential bills that you have to pay. So, you know, your mortgage, your council tax, your electricity, your broadband, your phone, your water, insurance you might have. So it lists all of those things. And then I've listed sort of everyday sort of spending things. So like groceries, petrol, clothes, hobby, like after school type things for the children, childcare expenses, school lunches, you know, all those things that you pay for very regularly on a day-to-day basis. Then I've created an extra section for more sort of one-off expenses, but it's almost like, you know, they're going to happen, but you just don't know when they're going to happen. So that's things like dentists, vets, house maintenance, all those kind of things that you know, are costs that are going to hit at some point during the year. Car servicing, and so then I've sort of added up an annual amount in there, and then I've divided by 12, so I know that every month I need to sort of be putting aside a chunk of money to pay for all those one-off things that happen at some point during the year. Then there's a section for sort of paying yourself section for emergency savings, for holiday savings, for savings into your pension. If you're employed, that's sort of auto-enrolled, that automatically happens. But if you're self-employed like me, then you have to actually make that transaction happen yourself. Mortgage overpayments is another thing that you might be doing. Putting money into your stocks and shares ISA, saving for your children. There's all these different sections. And there's a bit for tax as well, because obviously if you're employed, then your tax is automatically taken. But if you're self-employed like me, I have to be putting money aside for my tax bill every month as well. Have I remembered everything there? Yeah, I think so. But as I say, just go to my website and put your email address in the little box on the side, and you get a copy of that budget spreadsheet, and it's all done for you. Just fill it in. And then I've put lots of little tips on how to sort of save money on each of the bills. So yeah, if you take the actions that I've written about in the budget, then and so you haven't looked at your essential bills for a while, you can save hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds in a year. So yeah, absolutely worth doing. Strange times coming up with a budget at the moment, because there's so many things that we're not spending money on: petrol, childcare, after school clubs, but then there will be other things that we're spending more money on. Like, I definitely know I'm spending way more money on groceries than normal, because there's so many like treat things being added into the groceries. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say on spending diaries and budgeting. One thing I wanted to point out that I did do last week, which is a great money saving thing, was itchy nose, I moved my mobile phone over to a SIM only contract from a handset contract. I've always had handset contracts. I used to work at EU, so it was always really important to have the latest great mobile phone, but it's not really, is it? Like, it's just a materialistic thing. And I think as time goes on in isolation, we are realising that the material things aren't as important anymore. Interesting change of mindset. Anyway, my mobile phone was perfectly fine, helped by lovely Samsung, who actually rebuilt the whole phone for me about a year ago when it broke in warranty. They rebuilt it for me, so I had a pretty much new phone a year ago anyway. I moved to SIM only, and my SIM only contract is £17.50 a month. My old mobile phone contract was £45 a month, and all of that's with 30% discount as well, because I used to work for EU. So yeah, what's that? 45 take away £17.50, so I'm saving £32.50 a month on my mobile phone. Yay! I also noticed some random charges on one of my children's phone, and E removed that for me. So it's always worth checking your bills for random charges. If you call companies up, they'll often refund them for you. So yeah, great service from EE there, sticking with the company I used to work for. And then the other thing I want to mention is, so yeah, I've been doing lots of reading, sort of swatting up this morning to make sure I know absolutely everything, as I'm going to be on live TV at 1:30 this afternoon talking about personal finance issues. But I was, and I trust very few sources of information at the moment. We all know there's so much fake news, opinions floating around that's not factually correct. So in terms of money, the only information I am trusting is information on Money Saving Expert, and information I get from the mainstream news channels, so BBC and ITV News. That's pretty much all I'm taking my information from, be that money related, COVID related, health related, anything like that. And I'm avoiding the news a lot as well, because it's can be a bit anxiety inducing. But so yeah, there's this amazing article on Money Saving Expert, which is just like, I'll put a link to it on all my social media and stuff, but it's just the most exhaustive list of everything to do with money, and if you're employed, if you're self-employed. And one of the things it talked about was universal credit. So universal credit is the all-encompassing system of how the state pays out benefits to people, and so many people are relying or are applying for universal credit at the moment. There was just a random point saying just check if you're eligible for anything. So and they had like a little eligibility checker, which is it took like 10 minutes to go through. It asks for all your income details and council tax and all stuff about your children and how much you pay for childcare and all these types of questions, how much savings you've got. So I went and put all my details in, and I'm actually eligible for some universal credit, which I completely didn't realise. So I'm eligible for child benefit, which was sort of part of it. And then there was another element, which I suspect is because I'm now like a single mum living at home. I have quite a big mortgage to pay with quite a chunk of interest in that. I don't have very much in savings. So yeah, I think it's all related to that. Anyway, it's just worth checking to see what you're eligible for. Like, you'd be surprised that you can actually be earning quite a bit of money and still be eligible for some support. So even if it's like, I think the extra support I was eligible for was like £40 a week or something. It was minimal, but 40 quid's 40 quid, isn't it? And I don't know what's going to happen with my money, so I am stressed out by it. Think about it all the time. So yeah, I'm gonna apply for it because it's all money that will help in the long run. So yes. I'll put a link to it in the notes of this Facebook Live. The Money Saving Expert article, that is, and in particular the Universal Credit Calculator. But it's one of the first articles you see when you hit the Money Saving Expert website. So yes. Right, I think that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to mention the importance of the daily routine. Do I want to talk about that? Not really the daily routine, just my absolute lifesaver to protect my mental health. Well, I suppose firstly has been talking to people on the phone. I've had so many amazing conversations in the past week because I've had a really stressful week. Like, it's been really hard with the kids. So I've spoken to people on the phone who have just helped me to sort of rationalise situations and come up with sort of coping strategies and just to talk, because it's different, isn't it, talking to children than it is to talking to your actual friends. I can't wait to hug my friends. But going out for that daily walk, and just appreciating the nature and the colours and the smells and the sunshine and the clouds and the trees and the bluebells. It's just my absolute mental health lifesaver. So yeah, that's all I want to say. Go out and appreciate the beauty that surrounds us in the spring. Appreciate those finer, free things in life. So yeah, thanks for watching or for listening. I will pop this podcast. I'll put it all into all the podcast systems. I'll be back next week. Tune into ITV News at 1:30 and see me on there, looking exactly the same. Thanks for watching. Bye.